Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, it's looking like the Jets have lined up a meeting with wide receiver from Arkansas, Treylon Burks, again. Okay, again, this is not the first time that we've heard the Jets linked to Burks, right? What do we know so far? We know that the Jets really liked him during the season, and obviously, right, super productive at a huge position of need, multiple years of production back at Arkansas. We're going to talk about what Burks brings to an NFL franchise in just one second, but the Jets have also met with Burks before at the NFL Combine, and that was right around the time when the report came out that Joe Douglas was supposedly gushing over Treylon Burks. Okay, so that's just another layer or another dot to connect. And then the pro day happens, right? Shortly after the NFL Combine, and the national scout of the New York Jets, Dom Green, was in attendance. Okay, so we're starting to look at all of these different connections here between Treylon Burks, the Jets front office, and how he really fits this offensive system. Could he be in play with one of our first round picks, presumably spot number 10, or a trade back scenario, or maybe even a trade up where we package middle round picks and come back up into the first round, much like we did last year with AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker with out of USC. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty much expecting anything, right? Anything and everything. With all of the movement that we've seen so far, if you would have told me before the season started that we would have had numerous superstars getting traded, like Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, what's happening with Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz getting moved. I mean, the movement is absolutely crazy. Amari Cooper. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm not putting it past Joe Douglas to maneuver his way up and down the NFL draft. Anything could happen at this point. But when I look at Treylon Burks specifically, this is a big body wide receiver at 6'2", 6'3", around that 225 mark, ultra productive, 66 catches last year, over 1,100 receiving yards with 11 touchdowns. He was the premier threat at the wide receiver, really as the best pass catcher that the Razorbacks had to offer. He had 3 straight years of production in the SEC. Very, very difficult guy to slow down and try to neutralize. Defenses just couldn't figure it out. And remember, this is the SEC West. Auburn, Texas A&M, Alabama. I mean, he torched defense after defense after defense. It was so much fun to watch, and we look at how he was doing these things, how he was having so much success. He was winning on the outside. He was winning on the inside. He was taking handoffs. It wasn't a lot, but he did have over 100 rushing yards on the season. You know, again, it's not anything to really write home about, but Treylon Burks gives you somebody that can line up all over the place. He can really be that offensive chess piece, and one of the big things that Mike LaFleur looks for in this style of offense, and we can, you know, point back to San Francisco here with Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel, everybody that runs this same kind of system, is versatility at the wide receiver position. You know, one of the big gripes about Denzel Mims from this coaching staff was they needed him to play in the slot. They needed him to line up all over the place, and, you know, according to the coaching staff, he wasn't really there yet. Okay, Treylon Burks gives you that. You need him to line up in the slot, he can do it. You need him to play one-on-one on the outside, he can do it. You want him to line up at running back for a play or two, he can do it. You want to put him in motion, he can do it. So overall, Burks gives you a big body at the position. He gives you a ton of production coming out of the best conference in all of college football. He gives you versatility. He gives you a guy with upside because he is only 22 years old at the end of the day. And he gives you a system fit. I mean, there's a lot to like with Treylon Burks. Really, the only, you know, it sounds weird saying red flag or issue here, but he did run a 4.55. You know, I know that's not the most ideal number in the world. I feel like, you know, we're seeing you know, a lot of 4.3s lately in just the day and age that we live in, all these athletes coming up and everything like that, which is awesome. And, you know, you see that 4.55 and it's like, you know, little, I understand that number looking a little low, but I think for me, I'm not going to let 140 time dictate how good of a player I feel like Treylon Burks can be in this Jets style of offense. I'm not going to let that 140 time erase or overshadow his entire collegiate career. So if Treylon Burks has been identified by this Jets front office, or is going to be identified by this Jets front office as a guy, as a potential fit in the first round, where do we take him? How do we manage this? Do we pull the trigger at 10? Some might say that's a reach. Some might say, hey, if he's your guy, if he's very, very high on your big board or on Joe Douglas's big board, you got to take him. You can't risk missing out, especially because he's coming in at a position of need. We have struck out over and over and over again with the wide receiver 1 type of position this offseason. I mean, think about all these names that are now off the board. Think about the compensation, you know, that was given up to land some of these guys, like Robert Woods being traded for a 6th round pick, Amari Cooper being traded for a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick swap. We look at all the free agent wide receivers like Christian Kirk and Allen Robinson and Michael Gallup, all taken off the board. You know, it's you know, going into the offseason, we had tons of different options, tons of them. But now we're in a position where it's like so many guys are taken, so many guys are plucked off the board. We're now in a little bit of a stuck between a rock and a hard place. So going back to Treylon Burks here, do we pull the trigger at spot number 10? I want to throw this in there, a potential trade back. Does a team like the New Orleans Saints, the Pittsburgh Steelers, move up in the draft to select one of these quarterbacks, whether it's a Malik Willis, a Kenny Pickett, whoever it may be? Can the Jets find themselves in an opportunity where they can move back, acquire some more picks, you know, whether it's moving back in the 1st round and adding a future pick or stockpiling some middle round draft selections? Maybe they can get, you know, a 2nd round pick this year or another 3rd, something along those lines. I think if the Jets, you know, again, find themselves in that spot where, hey, now we're picking early 20s and a lot of the top guys are off the board, we can definitely go with the with a Burks, right? But my only fear is getting past Philadelphia. Philadelphia needs some wide receivers, okay? They need some help there, and they have 3 first-round picks. 2 of those are obviously, you know, in the mid-teens, and I feel like if Burks is on the board, he would fit in Philadelphia, but hey, who knows? Again, crazier things have happened. We're seeing guys getting moved all over the place, things that nobody had any idea would happen. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.